dangerous ratio in your business may not be your burn rate as a startup. It may not be the amount of money you're spending every single month. It actually may be your pipeline velocity. Today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about essential go-to-market success metrics that every founder needs to keep track of. It's, as an investor myself, having done due diligence for a startup syndicate, this is the one thing that I always wanted the founders to understand, their pipeline velocity. In the video, we're going to talk about go-to-market activities versus go-to-market outcomes. We're going to talk about the 4 core variables of pipeline velocity and the equation you should use to calculate that. We're going to do a real-world example, and then we're going to use that data to shorten your sales cycles. Most founders know their burn rate, the amount of money you're spending every single month. They know their cash balance, but they fail more often than not when I've been around them to keep up with the speed of the revenue that they have. So it's not just about revenue, it's the speed with which that revenue is coming in. We call that pipeline velocity. You might have a go-to-market strategy, but if you don't have this metric and you're not tracking it, you're completely blindfolded. You don't know really what's happening because revenue equals growth equals subsequent rounds of fundraising, which eventually one day more growth and into being acquired or an IPO or something like that. So today, we're going to move past the vanity metrics. We're going to talk about math that'll help you predict your scaling. So the trap is confusing busy work and busy activity with progress and success. So I've seen updates from founders to investors, and they'll say, here's how many calls we made, and here's how many meetings we held, and here's how many emails we sent, and these types of things. You can send thousands of emails, have all kinds of phone calls, and make no money. And that won't work. That's not scaling. That's busy work. So the shift is we need to measure outcomes, and the outcomes will tell us if the market really cares what you're doing at all. So there are 4 variables to this. There's qualified opportunities. This is a number, so it's not leads. It's not leads, okay? It's not people who just say they might be interested. They're qualified buyers. They have the interest, they have the budget, they have all the factors that would be required to actually spend money. Qualified opportunities. We want to focus on win rate. So how many of those qualified buyers do you actually sign? So I'm not very interested in win rate as it relates to unqualified buyers, because that typically will be a bad metric because they're not your ICP. They're not your ideal customer profile. I'm focused on the win rate of qualified buyers that have worked through top of funnel, middle of funnel. They've gotten to the bottom of the funnel. By then they should be qualified, and what percentage of those you're closing. I'm also interested in the deal size. So what's the average contract value? That matters to me because what if to get deals closed, you're having to discount heavily? That's a bad signal. And the last variable is sales cycle length. How long is it taking to go from top of the funnel, hi, how are you doing, to the bottom of the funnel and closing that deal? That really matters because the more we can shorten that, the more go-to-market strategies we can use to shorten that sales cycle, the faster the revenue is coming in. And all of that leads to pipeline velocity. So the math that we're going to look at is going to be qualified opportunities times your win rate as a percentage times your deal size. Then all of that divided by sales length cycle. So an example would be 50 opportunities with a 20% win rate equals 10 deals. Now, 10 deals times a $10,000 deal size is $100,000 in revenue. And then finally, $100,000 in revenue divided by 60 days is you're making $1,666, or let's say $67 per day in revenue velocity. This number tells you exactly how much money you're going to have in the future that you're generating on a daily basis. And in the startup world, daily matters. So how are you going to use this data? You're not just going to use it to sell more. You got to tweak the variables. So scenario A would be increasing your deal size by 10%. You would get that lift. Scenario B might be, I talked about it earlier, shortening your sales cycle, getting it down smaller, faster beginning of contact to closing the deal. Better contracts, better processes, better marketing, better sales techniques, all these things. The thing to worry about is doubling your leads can reduce your win rates. So be careful how hard you push. If you're doubling your leads, but you're getting in front of the wrong ICP, not qualified buyers, you're going to have a problem. So what I recommend is go to your CRM system, pull down your numbers, calculate your pipeline velocity. By the way, if your pipeline has nothing in it, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. I know that's part of what the 30-day founder blueprint is trying to solve for you, but this is something to think about, reflect on later. What is your current sales cycle length? Or theoretically, what do you anticipate it's going to be? Be sure you're tracking this statistic. It's not just about burn rate. It's not just about numbers, vanity metrics, number of leads, all these things. Pipeline velocity is very, very important. If you're at the ideation stage, you shouldn't be thinking about this yet, but it's something to at least consider a little bit later on in the process. How are you going to measure it? And by the way, the only way to measure pipeline velocity is to have the data to do so. So you better be tracking these things as your solution goes to market and you're starting to scale.